Hello, it's 6 o'clock. Welcome to the programme. I'm Paul Clark.
And I'm Linda Grimes. Here are the top stories this Wednesday evening.
Dissident Republicans are being blamed for the murder of a man in Londonderry. Dissident Republicans are being blamed for murdering a man last night in Londonderry. Jim McConnell was shot inside a house in the Prehen area.
He'd served time in jail for drugs offences, and police have confirmed they're investigating a possible drugs link to the shooting. Mark McFadden has the story.
A clinical and brutal killing. That's the view of the detective leading this murder investigation.
It's much too early at the minute, I think, to try and say a particular group were involved. I'm aware, as indeed the community are aware, of newspaper reports and stories that have appeared recently, and it's fair to say that that remains a line of inquiry. The dissident Republicans may have been involved. However, there are other lines of inquiry as well, so have to keep an open mind at the minute, but certainly haven't ruled it out.
Is one of those lines of inquiry the fact that this may have been drugs related?
Yes, that is one of the lines of inquiry.
It's believed the murder victim was Jim McConnell. He was 38 and came from Derry. It's not yet known why Jim McConnell was targeted in this shooting, but we do know that in recent days, dissident Republicans in the city issued death threats against those they accused of selling drugs. And last year, Jim McConnell was released from jail after serving a 2-year prison sentence for possessing cocaine with intent to supply. He moved into this house after his release from jail. He was targeted shortly after midnight when an armed gang forced its way into this house on Prehen Road.
We received a call shortly after midnight and attended this location, where we were met with a male who had received a number of gunshot wounds to the chest, and the patient was unconscious. The crew resuscitated the patient at the scene and moved the gentleman to hospital, and unfortunately he passed away at hospital.
This is a quiet residential neighbourhood. Residents are shocked by what's happened.
Well, the police knocked my door about 3 o'clock this morning, they told me that somebody had been shot.
Shot, like, it's my doorstep,
The Speaker of the Assembly visited the scene. He has no doubt dissident Republicans were behind this murder.
Yeah, it's still very much a live investigation, but certainly there's no doubt about it. And the finger clearly points at a dissident Republican group.
It's taken us back to the worst days of the Troubles, that sort of assassination, and I think the people of this city would reject it utterly.
Police say the gunmen may have driven 2 small, light-coloured cars, and detectives want to know the route they took. They're appealing for information. Mark McFadden, UTV Live, Derry.
A clinical, brutal murder. That's how the police are describing the shooting of a Londonderry man in the waterside area of the city just after midnight. They're examining a number of lines of inquiry that dissident Republicans may have killed Jim McConnell and that it might be drugs related. A priest who's spoken to the victim's family says the killers have carried out evil work and caused only pain and anguish. Here's our Northwest reporter, Kieran Turish.
The police carried out extensive searches in the Prehen area this afternoon following last night's murder. 2 men armed with handguns and a sledgehammer burst into this house on Woodland Avenue just after midnight and shot Jim McConnell at least once. The 38-year-old had only moved into the area just before Christmas. Within minutes, Jim McConnell was rushed to Galvin Hospital, but he died from his injuries. 2 other men in the house weren't hurt. The police have confirmed they're examining several lines of inquiry, including the possibility the attack may have been drugs related. They wouldn't be drawn on who exactly was responsible.
It's much too early at the minute, I think, to try and say a particular group were involved. I'm aware, as indeed the community are aware, of newspaper reports and stories that have appeared recently, and it's fair to say that that remains a line of inquiry. The dissident Republicans may have been involved. However, there are other lines of inquiry as well.
The shooting has appalled local people.
Disgusted, people probably thought they saw the end of it.
Unbelievable that people can come and do this. It's like gangsters. You only see it in America or somewhere.
A priest who's been with the victim's father says the family's devastated. He said those to blame represent no one.
They are causing a lot of pain and anguish to a lot of people, and they're doing this out of their own narrow, selfish ends. And it's evil. We call a spade, it's evil.
Police want to trace two vehicles, a small white car, possibly a Peugeot 106 or 306, and a silver car. It may have been a Ford Fiesta with two men on board. Both cars were seen in the area around the time of the shooting. Gerard, BBC Newsline, Derry.
Another month, another significant rise in the number of people looking for work. 2,000